In a world where hearts betray or heal with equal ferocity, where alliances fracture in secret and redemption sometimes demands a reckoning, the landscape of the Forrester universe trembles, centered on one woman's explosive return. Steffy Forrester, the linchpin of passion and resilience, re-enters the fray just as tensions spiraled beyond control. The air crackles with danger. Luna's and Sheila's schemes intertwine, sending tremors through family, business, loyalty, and love. Now, at the perfect dramatic apex, Steffy storms back to claim her thronious mother as partner, as heir, as queen set to rebuild her shattered home and her legacy. Off-screen, Jacqueline MacInnes Wood, our Steffy, has just welcomed her fifth baby into the world. That real-world miracle ripples through the show's timeline. Steffy's presence and time on screen was always fluid, adjustable. Now that her return is primed, the show swings in perfect narrative alignment. Her return is no simple comeback. It's the herald of transformation. At the heart of Forrester Creations lies a battlefield where jagged loyalties and creative rivalries clash. Luna steps into the studio under the guise of talent, charm, ambition, but beneath her bright veneer lies ruthless opportunism. She insinuates herself into Forrester circles, weaving alliances with those hungry for novelty, for control, for attention. Each sleek smile masks ambition sharpened into silent combat. And Sheila, ever the viper in silk, spies the cracks of vulnerability and pries at them. Her return is a blade. She returns not only to haunt but to dominate, to ignite fires that only Kyoza or Rakonin can extinguish. As Luna's schemes mount and Sheila's manipulations escalate, the Forrester family lies scattered in high-stakes disarray. Ridge runs rampant with concern, torn between business pressure and daughter as their anxieties. Finn and Hope brace themselves for danger while comforting what's already broken. Liam's loyalties waver. Hope's faith wavers under the weight of threats she never saw coming. The creative lab, once humming with passion, now vibrates with tension, secrets seeding betrayal. Just then at the precise apex of tension, Steffy returns, her entrance timed for maximum impact. No lazy return. No casual, quiet homecoming. She storms through the doors with righteous fury, her presence electrifying. The moment unfolds, Luna's smile fades. Sheila's gaze snaps sideways. For the first time, the allies and enemies realize Steffy isn't just Baksh's reawakened, recalibrated, unstoppable. Her arms cradle her new baby. That maternal strength sharpens her resolve. She takes in the chaos, her eyes burning with determination. She's had time off screen to heal, to grow, to let her maternal fire focus. And now she's here to strike back. Steffy is Steffy, the steel behind the sweetness, the passion that refuses complacency. She steps into the boardroom, her presence rewriting the balance. Luna's smooth facade cracks. Sheila's plan teeters. She repositions herself as the enchorned just of her family, but of the company. She knows every power move, every fault line. She sees the shadows that have crept in during her absence. She's not here to reclaim comfort. She's here to seize control. Under her, the studio will rise again. As she steps forward, the family rallies. Ridge breathes easier, inspired. Hope and Finn together stand taller. Liam sees his partner reborn. Steffy doesn't just fill a void, she redefines home. Her new baby becomes symbolic of this is the fifth. It's also emblematic of legacy and renewal, a fresh start built on love undiminished by trials. She cradles the child, frames herself not just in maternal glow, but in strategic brilliance. Every whisper in the studio shifts. Where once plots thickened, now renewal blossoms. Yet the threats remain. Luna, dismantled in composure, lashes out. She plays every card, twisting secrets, manipulating alliances, but her venom meets true steel. Steffy faces her head-on. Words flash like daggers as Luna's ambition collides with Steffy's resolve. The tension snaps, drawing everyone's gaze. And Sheila thinks she still has control, still can provoke fear. But Steffy steps closer. No melodrama, only the quiet strength that terrifies the Viper. "You underestimated us," she says. Behind that statement lies fury, love, and the weight of every wound endured. She stands tall, a mother, a businesswoman, a survivor. Her presence silences Sheila's snake charm. In that silence, power shifts. From there, Steffi begins rebuilding. She mends her marriage, piece by piece, with Liam. She sharpens Hope's courage. She helps Ridge refocus the studio's mission. She reclaims Forrester Creations, galvanizes the team, re-inspires the designers. Graduations of loyalty shift as people align with her energy, her clarity. Under her guidance, the creative process transforms from a battlefield back into a place of inspiration, innovation, legacy. The Forrester name pulses anew. That simmering drama stakes alive. Characters on the brink. A return defined more by force than sentiment delivers everything the soap fan craves. Passion, power, family, jeopardy, and above all, redemption. It peaks when Steffi stands center stage, lights narrowing to circle her. The matriarch reborn, the heir and heir again. The woman who mothered 5 children, will still sharpened in the boardroom and battlefield. Her victory isn't Pyrrhic, it's triumphant. Within these relentless currents, each relationship ripples, each glance, each line, each embrace means something. No loose ends, only dramatic precision. She's not merely returning, she's rising, reforging home and business, a phoenix armed with love and cunning. The house stands battered, but with Steffi guiding its reconstruction, the walls strengthen, the future brightens. This is the narrative crescendo. A timed AGI trio, a dramatic rising tide that washes away the decay and chaos Luna and Sheila unleashed and leaves in its wake a Forrester family and studio stronger, sharper, full of fierce love. The return of Steffi doesn't just close a chapter. It starts a new era only written in fire and steel, in motherhood and power, in loyalty reclaimed. Steffi with her 5th child in arm, Steffi as commander of home, Steffi as architect of Forrester's Renaissance. This is not what we expected, because nothing we've seen up to now could have prepared us. But now it happens, timed, explosive, inevitable. And long after the cameras fade, after the drama settles, we know one thing: Steffi will never be adjustable again. This return ends measured absence and begins unwavering presence. The matriarch, the widow, the wife, the mother of 5 hold Steffi Forrester, reborn in darkness and driven toward the dawn. From September 1st through September 19th, the bold and the beautiful squeezes every fault line in Los Angeles until it cracks. And the result is 3 relentless weeks of secrets, warnings, and temptation edging toward disaster. The opening salvo belongs to Luna Nozawa as the pregnancy test she's been dreading and maybe secretly hoping for finally lands. Whether it flashes a plus or a minus, the minute Luna faces that answer, the stakes for everyone around her change. If it's positive, the question of what kind of future she's building arrives before she's ready. If it's negative, the guilt and fallout from her recent choices don't vanish. They just choose a different path to punish her. Either way, the outcome corners Luna in a room where truth has no exit, and the echo reaches Will Spencer at the worst possible time. Will is drowning in a secret that doesn't belong to him, a truth he didn't ask to hold, tied to Elektra Forrester and the chaos Luna left behind. He didn't cause what Luna did, but he can't shake the feeling that keeping quiet makes him complicit. It's the kind of pressure that changes a heartbeat, and Elektra feels it every time she kisses him. She's thrilled to be with Will for the first time, basking in a new charge rush that should be pure joy, but his eyes give him away. He's distracted. He's haunted. He's not the man she expected to wake up next to. The worst part is the uncertainty. Will still doesn't know who crawled into bed with him that night, and the mystery gnaws at him with the stubborn persistence of a wound that refuses to close. As Elektra's excitement turns into unease, Will's silence metastasizes into guilt, and the relationship that should be a triumph starts to feel like a trap. While that tinderbox smolders, Los Angeles gets a surprise touchdown by Thomas Forrester, who jets back specifically to look his mother in the eye and talk about her upcoming wedding. Taylor Hayes is on the brink of the happiness she's fought for, and Thomas can't pretend he's calm about the one obstacle he believes could still ruin it, Brooke Logan. Thomas doesn't tiptoe. He heads straight to Forrester Creations with a singular agenda: find Brooke, confront Brooke, and make sure she understands that his parents' wedding is not a target. But nothing in this town stays between two people for long, and Katie Logan ends up right in the blast radius when Thomas delivers his warning. Katie intervenes, not with a whisper, but with the full force of someone who's cataloged every manipulation he's pulled. She reminds him pointedly of the CPS debacle, the fake heroics, the way he once propped himself up by ripping Brooke down. If Thomas wants to talk about threats to happiness, Katie insists he should start with the mirror. Thomas doesn't flinch. He swears he's here to protect Taylor and Ridge, to stand guard over their wedding plans, and if that means wrestling ghosts from his own past and the Logan's present, he'll do it. The tension in that office is a wire stretched to breaking. A son shielding his mother's future, a sister guarding her sister's dignity, and the name Brooke Logan sitting between them like a match nobody should strike. That same week, another front opens. Carter Walton finds himself toe-to-toe with Liam Spencer in a fight Liam pretends is noble and Carter knows is ruthless. The prize is Hope Logan's heart, and there's nothing abstract about it. Liam sees a chance to pull Hope closer again, to sell her on the promise of a repaired bond. And he presses in with the kind of gravity that's hard to resist when the shared history is dense and familiar. Carter senses the shift and understands what it means. If he blanks, he loses her to a story that's written itself a dozen times before. Even worse, Daphne Rose clocks the vulnerability from a mile out and moves with precision. She doesn't storm the castle, she slides through the side door, offering Carter the voice he needs when his confidence falters and positioning herself as the person who sees him most clearly when he's at risk of being erased by the Logan Spencer gravitational pull. Daphne isn't the momentary distraction she first appears to be. She's calculating, patient, and absolutely willing to use Liam's renewed pursuit as leverage. In the middle of all this, Forrester Creations opens its doors to a different kind of disruption: elegant, moneyed, and disarming. Rana, a socialite with taste, influence, and an appetite for spectacle, arrives on the showroom floor with one goal: find the perfect wedding gown. She is the customer every fashion house claims to be ready for and very few can actually handle. Brooke and Katie step in to guide her, and the room changes temperature. With Rana, everything is amplified. The fabrics shimmer brighter, the fittings feel more consequential, and the subtext bubbles to the surface because Rana loves a headline, even if it hasn't been written yet. As she tries on illusions in silk and tulle, she tracks Brooke the way a keen reader scans a favorite author, picking up the offhand comments, spotting the hesitation, reveling in the romantic tension that never seems to let Brooke live in peace. Rana isn't just there to shop, she's there to encourage, to poke, to tease out a confession. She delights in the whispers and, when the moment presents itself, backs Katie's efforts to give Brooke something she's been missing: permission to believe in her future again. Between fittings and compliments, Rana becomes an unexpected bellwether, reminding everyone that love and war are both theater, and couture is only as compelling as the story it clothes. Week 2 ramps every thread. Liam leans harder into proximity with Hope, finding little excuses that accumulate like proof-shared coffees, gentle callbacks to the life they built, memories that land with the soft thud of nostalgia. Carter watches the tide, worried that what looks like closure is actually undertow, the pull that drags Hope back out to a sea she keeps promising she never swim again. Daphne senses Carter's caution and uses it, not with cruelty but with tactics. She doesn't ask him to abandon his loyalty, she asks him to protect his own heart. She frames Liam's charm as a move on a chessboard and nudges Carter to consider whether being a gentleman in a knife fight is just an elegant way to lose. Across town, Thomas keeps his foot on the accelerator. His surprise visit evolves into a campaign to make sure nothing, absolutely nothing, derails Taylor and Ridge. He repeats his warning to Brooke with a colder edge, ignoring the noise that he's borrowing righteousness he hasn't earned. He's not here for absolution, he's here to shut down threats. Katie refuses to be sidelined and pushes right back, calling out the way Thomas's certainty conveniently edits out his own history. Every jab risks detonating the truce that allows the Forresters and Logans to share air. And yet, each encounter ends without a clean victory, because the bold and the beautiful understands that the most dangerous fights are the ones that never resolve. They just keep narrowing the hallway until someone can't pass. In this cauldron, Rana's presence is more than color. As she consults with Brooke and Katie, she becomes a mirror for Brooke's contradictions. She hears a woman who says she wants peace but keeps orbiting a man who sets off every alarm in her life and still makes her feel like a future is possible. Rana cheers that conflict on, convinced that the mess is the point and that elegance without scandal is just fabric on a hanger. Her verdict is clear. If Brooke wants a happy ending, she has to stop apologizing for wanting it. The final stretch, September 15 through 19, drops pretenses and lets temptation do what it always does here. Test the structures everyone insists are unbreakable. Ridge and Brooke find themselves in familiar proximity, that dangerous closeness that erases the years and insists the heart remembers what the head keeps trying to forget. They don't need candlelight. An ordinary afternoon in the office is plenty. A glance lingers too long. A memory opens a door. The question stops being theoretical and becomes immediate. Will they give in to the pull they've never been able to kill? And if they do, what happens to Taylor's wedding plans the minute the secret gets a witness? At the same time, Hope and Liam hover on the lip of a similar cliff. All the tiny reunions take on a heavier weight, and what was once a safe reminiscence starts to feel like a promise. Hope tells herself she's too smart to repeat this loop, and Liam, for all his tenderness, knows how to exploit rhythm. Every almost touch, every shared laugh, every confession about what we used to be pushes them closer to an act that won't be easy to forgive or forget. Carter sees it and steels himself. But resolve is a fragile thing when the air smells like a rerun of Destiny. Daphne doesn't blink. She keeps Carter grounded, pulls him out of the fog of what-ifs, and dares him to claim a story that doesn't require Hope to relapse into old patterns to make sense. Meanwhile, Lee Finnegan loses her grip on the Luna situation. She has had a plan, and for a while it worked because she was the only one who knew the rules. Now Luna isn't following them. Luna has her own agenda, and whatever the pregnancy test says, she's not waiting for permission to act. She cuts across Lee's strategy with choices that are bold at best and reckless at worst. And every move Luna makes exposes the weak seams in the control Lee thought she had. The generational clash is raw. Lee is all order, method, consequence. Luna is urgency, desire, damage, and hope jammed into a single beating impulse. As Luna's independence turns into defiance, trouble multiplies, and the fallout threatens to land not just on Luna, but on everyone positioned too close to her orbital, Elektra, and anyone else tethered to the night nobody can quite account for. Then there's Sheila Sharp, looking at her marriage to Deacon and seeing hairline fractures that weren't there yesterday. Sheila is holding a piece of information about Luna that could blow open half the town's assumptions. It's scandalous enough to torch reputations and strategic enough to change leverage overnight. She keeps it quiet for now, but the secrecy costs her. Deacon senses distance and doesn't know why. Sheila feels his suspicion and doesn't know how to fix it without starting a fire she might not be able to put out. That's when the story makes its most subversive move. Lee becomes Sheila's unexpected support. It isn't friendship and it isn't forgiveness. It's survival math. Lee understands that if this Luna bomb goes off at the wrong time or in the wrong hands, the collateral damage will be catastrophic. So the doctor, who prides herself on control, teams up Halper briefly with the woman most people would never trust to hold a match. And together they try to manage a secret that refuses to stay still. The result is a suspense engine that runs on contradictions. Will Spencer wants to be decent and honest, but he's hiding proof that could break Elektra's heart and Luna's future, even if he never meant to carry it. Elektra wants to believe she's living the beginning of a love story, but she can't ignore the way Will's shoulders tense when the conversation gets too close to that night. Thomas wants to be his mother's protector, and in the process he risks becoming the same man he's promising everyone he's not. Brooke insists she won't be the villain in Taylor's tale, and yet her name keeps showing up wherever Rich stands, like destiny doesn't care about anyone's plans. Katie tries to be the adult in the room and gets pulled into a feud that turns adults into teenagers with better clothes. Carter wants to win a heart without fighting dirty, while Liam wants to rewrite the past with the same pen that once wrote Hope's pain. Daphne wants Carter to wake up to his own value, and she's willing to be the hand that steadies him if the ground starts to tilt. Rana swans into the showroom for a dress and accidentally becomes the chorus that sings the truth out loud. In this city, love is spectacle, pain is couture, and the runway never ends. Lee thinks she can guide Luna to a safe path and learns that autonomy doesn't ask for clearance. Luna wants to build a future without drowning in the past, and every step she takes either saves her or digs the hole deeper. Sheila wants to keep her marriage intact and discovers that the price of secrecy is mistrust. The price of confession is explosion, and either way something gets burned. Deacon wants a wife he can read and wakes up to a partner who is suddenly all subtext. The through line that binds these weeks together is simple and merciless. Truth always arrives. It just chooses the ugliest road. The pregnancy result forces Luna to confront consequence. The bed mystery forces Will to confront identity and consent and whether silence is ever neutral. The confrontation at Forrester Creations forces Thomas to confront the fact that protecting family sometimes looks a lot like repeating history. And it forces Katie to confront how much of her life has been spent cleaning up other people's battles. The Rana detour isn't a detour at all. It's a spotlight that reveals Brooke's heart is still making decisions before her brain clocks in. The triangle of Hope, Liam, and Carter doesn't look like geometry. It looks like weather, and the forecast gets uglier the longer they pretend yesterday isn't pulling on tomorrow. Lee and Sheila's uneasy alignment isn't a twist for shock value. It's a reminder that enemies often want the same thing, control of the story, just for very different reasons. As the days stack up towards September 19th, temptation stops knocking and starts living in the house. Rich and Brooke itch toward a decision that could make a wedding bouquet wilt before the ribbon is tied. Hope and Liam toe the wrong side of a line they promised not to cross, and Carter feels the sting of watching a pattern beat a good man by points. Daphne moves from interested observer to necessary ally, a person who speaks plainly when plain talk is the only rope left. Will either tells the truth and lets the chips destroy the picture he's trying to build with Elektra, or he keeps holding the secret and lets it rot everything it touches from the inside out. Luna either owns the result of her test and the chaos behind it, or lets the city write her story for her. Lee either tightens the reins and snaps them, or learns to steer without strangling. Sheila either plays the card she's hiding about Luna, or watches her marriage wobble from the weight of what she won't say. Deacon either forgives a silence he doesn't understand, or demands an answer that could detonate the room. There's no clean way out, and that's the point. The bold and the beautiful has set the dominoes so close that any breath can start the fall, and every character knows it. The courage to tell the truth is about to be measured against the thrill of keeping a lie, and these next 3 weeks decide who chooses which. One test result, one warning in a design studio, one whispered name in a bedroom that shouldn't have hosted a stranger, one gown in a mirror that looks a lot like a second chance. One kiss almost taken, one secret withheld to save a marriage, one alliance nobody saw coming. The countdown isn't to a wedding or a reunion or a scandal. It's to the exact moment temptation crosses the line and turns into action, because in this town, intent is just the prequel. The story everyone's been trying to manage is about to take the wheel, and by September 19th, the only thing left to decide is who's still standing when the truth finally drives.